Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV, where we believe that everyone has the potential to be a giant in their own world. Just hang tight, sit back, and relax because in this show, you're going to learn the path to self love and a successful relationship. Wow, it's time to wake up the inner giant. Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. I am Ryan Morris, the co creator of Wake Up with Giants TV and the Tribe of Giants. And I am here with Nicholas T. Smith, the author of The Giants and the Smalls, and soon to be The Tortoise's Hair. Well, he wrote it already, but it's going to be published at some point soon. So get ready for that. That's pretty exciting. Nick, what do we got today? I'm pretty excited. I got my Monster Energy drink.
Yeah. Well, that's all you need, right? Is the Monster Energy, and that's the
That's
secret to a successful
and I
life.
got my Avenger shirt. I'm I don't know what else
all,
you need with
all the healthy
that,
people are like, no,
Yeah.
no Monster,
Yesterday
right?
was Naked Gardening Day, and
Yeah,
so yeah, so Q wants a gardening photo released from me.
yeah. You didn't even have a garden
I
until
told him I was
yesterday.
going to go out and garden, and he wants me to prove it.
Well, let's dive in. We got an amazing guest. Shall we introduce her?
Let's do it.
Yeah, all right. She is the Persian princess. She says she's far from a princess, but Fari Gonzaque, who she embarked on her courageous journey for freedom and self-discovery at the age of 21 by leaving Iran to embrace new homes in both America and England. And so, with unwavering passion for spirituality, health, and fitness, Fari has spent over 30 years guiding clients as a successful fitness trainer and a health and wellness coach. Drawing on her extensive experience and wisdom, she now specializes in relationship coaching and mentoring, as well as fostering essential love and or self-love and self-respect. So she's going to share her insights from her adventurous life and various relationships. Fari empowers her clients to achieve the fulfilling relationships they've always desired. And as someone who has personally found love and happiness, she's dedicated to helping others break free from the cycle of making the same mistakes and transform their lives through self empowerment and renewed self love and respect. Did I do all right there, Fari?
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
I'm
Yeah.
looking
Well,
to see who is this person you've been talking about.
you're like looking around the room.
Where,
Who's this
where,
person?
who,
Who
what?
is this?
And we got to wear. Well, we didn't get to wear your husband. We got to see your husband,
Yeah.
uh, like dressed up like
He
Laban
was.
Ditchburn.
I think he was naked gardening.
Yeah, he was
Oh
naked
yeah,
gardening. He was no shirt, Laban Ditchburn-esque.
we finished a show with Anna Ditchburn, and right after we stopped going live, Laban comes walking down the spiral staircase with a hat over his
Middle
personal right his
section.
midsection. Comes right on screen.
That's all he had. It was a cowboy hat.
Wow.
So
Makes
I
for an
guess
interesting show.
all things are possible. Well, Fari, let's dive in. Should we dive into your story? And
Yeah. Well, you said really well. So, yes, I am originally from Iran and I left at the age of 21. Yes. And I went to England and the politics in Iran and everything got changed and it got me to, I went for a vacation to England and I got stuck in such a bad place, England, isn't it? To be stuck there. I'm just
yeah,
kidding saying
I'm
that.
so
I
sorry.
was there
Yeah.
for the next 14 years.
Yeah.
But when you're not expecting it and it
Those
happens,
people, Matt Evans, right, and
Yeah.
Fiona Ross, and that's got to
Crazy
be
bunch.
hard.
I miss my Brits. I miss
Yes, I miss my
England.
Brits.
Uh,
I'm gonna put that right now on
I
Facebook. I miss my
miss
Brits.
my Brits like so bad. And
Yeah,
I keep on telling my husband, at some point we need to like kind of partially live in England. I love England. I love my Brits. They're
uh,
brilliant. So yeah. And then now it's 30, what is it? 32 years in America. Yeah.
wow.
And it's been a tough journey, but it's been a brilliant journey at the same time. you know.
We when we do our 12 journeys trainings, we talk about kind of a flow and a process that people go through, and it starts with really not knowing, not knowing who you are. I mean, you come into this world and you're handed a life basically. You come in with some genetic predispositions, but you come into a culture and a family, and you're somewhat engineered to be like
Mhm.
that family or culture or society. And then you move through that, and life just is what it is, but then you have an awakening moment. Can you
Mhm.
talk about that? Did that happen for you,
Yes.
or yeah?
You know, I always tell my mother she probably should have changed, but not put my name as Fari. Fari, the whole name is Faride and means unique.
uh,
But she should find a name that it equals with rebel, because I've always been a rebel to this day. It would never change. So I would never
yeah.
be the very obedient girl, listen to your parents and all that. And I wanted to break that cycle. I wanted to become who I wanted to be. And I wanted to find me. So I decided that I'm going to leave Iran. And I
Mm.
didn't want to continue going to university in Iran. And the level of my family was just like, you finish school, you go to high school, you become either doctor or an engineer, nothing less than that. And then you get married and you continue. Like, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be me.
Yeah,
And being me, sorry, I suffer from allergies. That's why you see me doing
you're
this all.
good. You're good.
And being me was that I wanted to discover me. So I left and I went to England. And then soon after I got to England, the revolution happened in Iran. And I was really stuck in England and I couldn't go anywhere. So life went on, and with ton of difficulties. But being 21-year-old girl, difficulties was like piece of cake. You just walk through it. When it rains and then it pours, you just continue walking. You don't even know what it is to look.
Uh,
So and I've always been a tough personality, but I became even tougher that way and rougher, because the difficulties was not just, oh, it's difficult to get a job. By then I had massive amount of black hair, and as you can see, I'm dark and I looked Iranian. So I was a target for everybody. Oh, she's a Middle Eastern. Oh, she's a bad wolf. And I had so much animosity against me. So life made me, the way people responded to me, life made me
Mm.
become very, very angry.
yeah, you created some protections, right? Like these
Literally. And
protections.
my anger,
Yes.
yes. And within me, I knew this false apparent that I have as anger is not me. I don't
Mm.
want to be me. I'm just protecting me.
Yeah.
And I'm a God lover, and I've always wanted to talk to God. And I said, God, show me the way. I
Yeah.
never wanted to have a religion, and especially what had happened through the name of Islam did not satisfy me at all. And I did not want to be called religious at all.
Yeah.
And, so I went through zillions amount of in misery. If we had about 3 hours, I'd go through it all. You go.
What
So,
what
yeah.
can we hang on the protectors? The idea, there's a book called or a training module called Internal Family Systems. There's
Mm,
another one called Voice Dialogue Therapy that talks about these parts that we create
mm,
around ourselves
mm.
that in a sense are almost personalities of themselves, right? And we
Correct.
go around in the external world being those parts of ourselves, but internally that's not who we are. Internally we're loving, compassionate, curious, all these big things, but these parts come up and we develop them to survive and navigate our
Mhm.
challenges, right? I mean,
Correct.
do you have a view of that? Do you agree with that, or do you have a differing view around that?
No, no, no. I totally agree with that. It's just like at the peak of me being that tough cookie there at the age of like 21, 22, 23. Like, what does a 21-year-old girl know? Now, 21-year-old girl today is different than 21-year-old girl 45 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, I am innocent. I don't know any better than just being a daughter in a family, you
Mm.
know. But when I got to all of that, I just knew, even those days, I always loved Mother Teresa. I always wanted to follow that, but life wouldn't let me. And the protection that came up for me was the only way I could help myself. Like ton of people got into drugs and alcohol. my protection was fitness. My
Hmm.
protection was working out. I was a very heavy child when I left Iran. I'm short. I'm only 5'5", and I weighed like about 205 pounds, solid fat,
Hmm.
So I was
Yeah.
a fat kid when I got to, and and I thought, how am I going to deal with all this depression? And I would be running in the streets and parks of England. And the way to protect myself was just through my fitness.
Yeah. Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah. I can see, some people are really hard on themselves about what they use as a protection. They
That was
can
me.
be, yeah.
Through fitness, yeah.
And it's almost like it becomes a coping tool, and then it becomes a compulsion, and then it becomes
Mhm.
almost an addiction, and then it takes over. But there's a rebalancing that can occur as well with that protection, a loving of that thing, right?
You just said it brings an addiction. Addiction comes, as you all know, in many forms and shape.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, because I never knew then, I found out much later in America because of the accident that I was the driver and I caused the accident, that
Huh.
I was ADHD and dyslexic at the same time. I was clueless what they were, but that's why I wanted to just jump up and down and not sit down, and sitting and drinking alcohol or sitting and smoking like
Just wasn't
like,
appealing.
you're talking Chinese to me with those two legs.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was running out on the streets and jump roping, or going to the recreation and swimming and all that, and that's when I just felt, I said, "Oh yeah, this feels good." And I understand why a drug addict does that and says this feels good, because it all comes from the same place that I
Yeah.
follow this amazing man, Dr. Gabor Mate, that it says
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
addiction is an addiction, and we are not getting addicted to this whatever we use. We're addicted to the trauma and the feeling of the trauma that gives us that, it makes us become so addicted. I am 1000% addicted. 1000%. I am addicted. I say that out loud to my workout. But
Mm.
I've been addicted to extent that I've damaged myself. I have hurt myself. You know, I was one of the, I don't know if you guys are probably too young to hear it, but to know it, but there was this big guy here in America, a very a wonderful man, Billy Blanks, it was his name, and he was a Taibo
Hmm.
guy, and I was one of his Taibo girls. So I would be
Thanks
going.
for calling us young, though. I appreciate that.
Laughing because I know, no, you guys look too too young. So
Yeah.
I know Billy Blanks.
Yeah.
oh, you do. There you go. Yeah. But I
Yeah.
was one of his Tiber girls, and I got my black belt with blood running back of my head. And then the minute I got my black belt, because he got this guy to fight me, and he just didn't have this understanding that this is a woman, and I don't put a young 21-year-old guy to fight a woman at the age of 44. And he was pulling my hair, and I said, I don't care if I go dead, I'm going to fight this.
Yeah.
And it caused a lot of damage, emotionally, mentally, to my
Mm.
neck, to my body.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had stitches on my knees because I'd done it, because of because of all this workout that I did. Um, I had 4 surgery on my left knee and 3 surgery on my right knee, and the stitches were on my knee, on my left knee. When
Yeah.
they called me from his studio and they were videoing the taping the videos for for his videos, and they said, "Dad wants you here." His daughter said, and I said, "Oh, I just had the surgery 3 days ago." So she calls back and she goes, "Dad says no, come in. You're going to be at this side, but he wants you on this side," because I was really an animal on anything I did, whether it was tennis, kickboxing, swimming, whatever. I was pushing myself to the most because I'm addicted.
Right.
Do you understand? That was
Yeah.
soothing me. And then when I got on the stage, they forced me and I had to go. And when you don't have a financial backbone and you don't have any backbone altogether, you'll just go. I hopped on my crutches and I went there on the studio. They put the crutches out to the side. I have my pictures. I can send it to you. It's right there on my wall.
Yeah.
The music went on, and they just said, you just punch, and I started punching. The music went on, the adrenaline went crazy in his head, and he came in front of me and he goes, kick high, and I kicked high. I wish I could show it to you. I'm pointing
Yeah.
out over there. And if you look at the picture, you can just see this is a knee that had stitches on. And he forgot in that moment, and he put me down on my knees, and the stitches burst open.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So, and that caused that a year ago, I ended up having to have my both knees replaced.
Oh my gosh.
So addiction is an addiction is an addiction. There's no
Yeah.
to it. But
Uh,
my learning.
Dr. Mate says that trauma is ungrieved grief.
Yes.
And if we look at how some of these things evolve, I can imagine that you leave Iran, right? You're
Mhm.
taught you need to be this, you need to be that. You
Mhm.
move to a country and now your country's at war,
Yes.
right? And
Mm.
you move to a country where now you're also not accepted. So you've got this form of grief, right?
Endless.
And so
Endless.
your way of coping with that, your protection is I'm feeling this intensity of grief.
That's right.
My way of handling it is to exercise and
Right.
fitness. And it moves from a coping tool to an addiction.
Right.
And then you go through these things where it pushes your body to the limits, like you just described,
Mhm.
and still no grieving of that grief, right? It's still another tool that helps you not feel the grief. Is that accurate?
That's exactly right. And at the peak of all of that, I'm just saying, God, where are you? Because I was never separated. As I said, I never wanted to be a religious person.
Mm,
But at the peak of all of that craziness, I've always been a spiritual person.
yeah.
My spirit led me to go on and stay with the fitness, which I'd rather have the surgeries than other addictions side
Mm.
effect that leaves for you with the alcohol and with the drugs and all of that. And like one morning I was going to work in London. As I said, my hair were down to my elbows, and I had, like, no lie, like 4 or 5 times more hair than I had, and it was pouring with rain. And my thing was that I always wanted to get wet. And the skinheads were upstairs, and they saw me coming, and they poured a green color paint
Uh,
on my head, on me, in rain, on my clothes and everything, that caused me just walk sobbing to this place where I was working. And the guys, they were a bunch of Greek guys, fabulous guys that I was working there. They all sat and they started shaving my hair and giving me, clothes to wear. I mean, do you know what does that do to a, what was I, 22, 23,
mm,
24-year-old child that is not even with her family? And I would just cry and say, God, why? I'm not the government. Why am I paying the price?
mm,
It's hard for a kid. So what does it do through all the workouts? I mean, I'm saying this now with a smile on my face, but
yeah.
I'm now 66 years old, but that kid in me never left me.
Mm,
And all those grief that I had, unresolved grief that I had, it just got me to become super, super angry,
mm,
especially on men, because everything that I went through as as a racist, as anything, it was a man doing it to me,
uh,
men calling me names. Women were kinder, but it was all men hating me so much.
Fari, let me ask you. I hear uh, okay, when it comes to grief, especially,
Mhm,
Elizabeth Kubler-Ross in her work found that grief was a pretty common element of grieving,
mhm,
or anger was, right?
mhm,
Susan Anderson in her work talks about it, that
mhm,
rage is part of the shattering withdrawal internalization, that you feel that rage.
mhm.
What do you think anger does when you're in the grieving? What power? Because I don't think anger is an unuseful tool, but I think it has its place, right? And if you look at the anger that you expressed and what was going on, where do you think anger was useful? Does that make sense? Because I don't think you would have used it if you didn't think it would serve.
Yes, I know what you said. Anger is the most useless
Okay.
tool. but also is the most familiar tool we use.
Mm.
I was raised and see the anger from my father. I had a very, very angry father. I had I have four brothers, but one of them was beyond disgusting and angry.
Huh.
So I was raised with that. It was familiar for me to become it quickly, you know.
Yeah.
If I was born, like I always think of my pastor's wife, she is just this joy of being. Uh, if I had a mother that had her personality, I probably would have dealt with life, being raised by her. I
Mm.
would have used her because to me she's another side of a Mother Teresa, you know.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like that. I was raised in a very angry family,
Huh.
so I took that anger with me as my shield, you know, until, and from one side I'm angry, and good old days, I was young, good old days, I learned in England about Ram Dass and Wayne Dyer, and I'm reading them and I'm listening to them, but I'm going out there angry.
Mm.
I'm reading them, but I'm still angry
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it wasn't hitting home, because the anger was like so deep in me, ingrained in me, that I had no idea. If I didn't do so much workout, I don't know how would I probably, honest to God, I probably would have killed myself.
Holy
But
cow. Yeah.
going for miles of running, playing tennis, and hitting these balls so hard in the rain of England, and oh my God, I mean, fitness was literally my drug of choice.
Yeah. I could see where people would use that anger as a demonstration of these are my limits, my
Mhm.
boundaries, and you're hitting them. But some
Mhm.
people that they get to the point where everything is pushing their boundaries, right? Everything. It's like it's not
Mhm.
just limitations where you've pushed me so far into the corner that now I'm going to attack.
Mhm.
It's everything feels like an attack. And so I think that's where the distinction would come in is that I, I'm curious about anger. Like, why do we use it as a tool? And why would we have it if it wasn't something that could serve us in some form?
But
Because every
think
emotion
about
has
it.
its matter, right?
Yeah, look, a child being born
Yeah.
is born and is crying. The same child is 9 months old. You take the, I don't know what you call it in America, the pacifier, but in England they call it dummies. And you put that in their mouth and you pull it out,
Yeah. The pacifier,
Right.
right?
cries,
Yeah.
pacifies, it
Yep.
cries. And then they go with their legs and arms like that.
Yep. I
We
still do
are
that.
all born.
Yeah. When people take my
Yeah.
pacifier away, I get angry.
We're born knowing that our anger and our frustration will take us somewhere.
Yeah.
Now, be born that way and see that this anger is in the house, like a light at night is in the house, and you're born with it.
Mm,
Where are you going to go with it? You're not going to walk away with it. You're going to take it with you.
mm,
But how long are you going to take it with you? Is all the more I learned, the more I realized it's all a matter of a choice.
yeah.
You know.
That's how I was looking at it too, as you were talking about anger, and I was wondering if I've ever felt anger. I'd never have been persecuted for my skin color. I have never been persecuted for my heritage.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, not to my knowledge. Maybe I was, and I wasn't aware. But I could imagine. I've been pretty angry. I had some anger issues, especially in my younger years as well. And
Hmm.
learning to harness that and control it, it gave me like a viewpoint of like this. Like if this is your midpoint, it gave me the. I don't want to go way far out of the screen. I could see all of this, and
Hmm.
then as I decided that's not how I want to be, then I
Hmm.
could see all of the upside from harnessing and controlling my anger when it came up, just saying, okay, what does this cause? Like, what's going on in me? Because that's really all you can change. You can't change the people that are throwing green paint from
Never.
from up above, right?
Mhm.
But it takes that a little bit of the maturity and the awareness to be able to see that. And at that
Mhm.
time in your life, like you weren't taught that. You were taught to be angry.
That was the
right?
only way. Oh my God, the alarm went off in here. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome unless your house is burning down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which could make you angry.
You know, it's easier said than done that,
Yes.
oh, I want to choose differently. We're now in our old sound mind, but look at the young kid
Hmm.
that is not in the house, is having to speak a different language, just like you say, you were never been insulted because of your look. And I was talking about somebody else, with somebody else who is massively Trump supporter, and I said, I'm not against anybody, I'm just against one thing: anybody that comes to create facade and segregation between people. I am against that person.
Mm, yeah.
And I said to the same person, I said, he has never ever lived my life. He's never ever been in my skin color. He's never had my accent to see how much trouble I had to go through being me.
Yeah, that would be
Mm,
like me saying like, "Oh, I get what you're going through, and
Yeah, no one
I don't
ever.
understand it."
Yeah.
Right.
And the person
I know
had,
what I've been through, and that's all I can relate to, right? And
right,
so that's where we
right.
go.
And I
Yep.
just said, it was a time a few years ago that I was afraid to walk around in Los Angeles.
mm,
Yeah. How did you? Let me ask you a question. Like, how did you shift and make that shift from all you've known is anger, all
Mhm,
you've known is numbing, right? I mean, that's what it was, is
mhm,
the trying to cover it up and to feel better or feel different.
mhm.
And so you would constantly be chasing what was outside of you,
Yeah.
right? To get that next adrenaline rush, the next dopamine hit, the next high,
Well,
um, all the
it's
way to the point of some self-destruction, right? I mean, you blow out the stitches in your knee filming Billy Blank's Tybo.
oh, that wasn't enough. I had a fracture on my shoulder, and they got me to put my hand on the sling, and with one arm I'm punching, with the
oh
other
my
one is
gosh.
on the sling like this, and I'm punching with my other arm and all of that.
So
And
what did you do to kind of to shift, and what helped you to wake up to who you were being?
becoming being a fitness trainer and being super successful in what I was doing as a fitness trainer, because like I was like in the middle of this massive gym, and after I mean, working with Billy, of course, there too, but everybody wants to come and train with the girls and his staff, that which was us. And then I went to continue to another place to become a super successful trainer, and just teaching everything and all that. And I'm looking at everybody and I'm just thinking, I want to be better. This kicking, punching, lifting weights and all of that, this is not me. And I
Mm,
was in the middle of it talking to people as a coaching them, which I didn't know I was coaching. And one of them said, "Good, you're coaching." And I said, "What is that?" I was clueless what's coaching, because what you're telling me a coach does. And I think this was 2014, 12, I don't know, one of those years. And finally I got certified with it's called Robin Medanis from Tony Robbins thing in 2016. And I
yeah.
said, "Oh, that's what coaching mean." And then I continued coaching, and I'm just realizing, wow, I'm telling people to calm down. I'm telling people do it this way and that way. And I'm such a hypocrite. I'm not doing it myself.
Uh,
I am
I
not.
laugh because I'm like, been there, done that one,
Right.
right? You can speak it, and then you're not like doing your own things, and
That's it.
and it doesn't change until you do the work.
Right. And I continued being the coaching and all of that, and going through, I constantly say, God, show me the way. And it was a constant reading, Eckhart Tolle, all of these people. I would kept on going to so many seminars, workshop, and I started getting better and better and calmer and calmer,
mm,
until, but I wasn't. I mean, I'd never be a calm person. Look at me, the way I'm talking. Do I look anything like calm at all? My personality is bubbly and jolly and loud. It is
yeah.
what it is, and I'm quite a bit contrary to my husband. And until a few years ago, when I met my husband, And I thought, no, this guy is too calm and collected for me. I am going to get bored with him. And, all of that stuff that I thought of my husband. And it's a long journey to go through that. I don't want to waste your time how I did it. But until I read 2018, I read the book Loving What Is by Byron.
Mhm. Yeah, good book.
That book was such a, like a you got to stop sign. I got to this stop sign of life that you've got to stop. Now I need to learn better. Now, what do I do to get better? And that really helped me, that book, reading it many times. And I just had the pleasure of being on 100+ hour workshop with her last 2 months ago in March. We went for 10 days silent retreat with Byron Katie, which she said is the last one. And do you know, it's not ended. I thought I just went on the 10 days, but she keeps on coming. It was 400 of us. And she keeps on giving us workshops to do for 28 days and 28 days. And it's been incredible with her. That was a massive door opening. But a year and a half ago, I came to this book, The Ultimate Coach, and by our amazing guru, I call him. I call Steve Hardison my walking Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi. To
Yeah.
me, he's 1,000% Mahatma Gandhi.
We call him Giant because he is the
Yeah,
giant in,
don't
Yeah,
you
in
the
think?
Nick's book.
ultimate
Yep,
giant.
I read
Yeah.
he's
the
the
book.
ultimate giant. Yep.
Yes, I read the book a couple of years ago. I read it, and reading that book and so much resonating with me, I just realized how much I am showing all the hatred and the anger, animosity that I had from my father, from my brother. I bring it into my marriage,
Mm.
and also I had no right to have so much anger for my father. I learned so much better through the work of Byron Katie that how much I'm looking at all the negativity. Oh, my father beat me up. Oh, yeah, I was 16 or 17 years old. My father started slapping my face, not once, not twice, not 15 times. He was just going and he goes, and I was standing like this. I said, okay, hit me, because I just wanted to say, I'm not going to fall, until I just felt this thing and my eyes went like cuckoo, and I screamed, and my mom came out, and my mom pushed him against the wall, and then he goes, this is your child. I didn't find her in the street. How dare you to do this there? And my nose was bleeding. And I wanted to stick to this, and I did stick to it for years, to take my anger from my father and one of my brothers, as I said, to every man that came to my life. You
Mm.
know, and I just learned my father had so many goodness in life and gave me so much. He was a strong man. He was a powerful man. He was a people person man. He was a hardworking. All of that I've given up, and I'm sticking to one thing that he hit me. Well, he hit me, and he taught me so much more lesson from that. What
Mm.
was the lesson I learned? To be grateful for what I don't need to do to people. He hit me with hand, but then I would be hurting. I was a bully with my words, and I was hitting people with my words, which was for me a lesson to learn. I remember Steve Hardison said it even last week, because he learned from his alcoholic father, who he doesn't remember much, and he said he thanks Roy Hardison for teaching him not to be a womanizer, not to be a gambler, not to be a drinker. And that's exactly how I learned from my father not to be an abusive man.
Mm.
I learned from him to love people, because he loved people. He was a strong man. He was an athlete of his own time. My father died at the age of, I think, 104 or 5.
Holy cow.
He
Yeah.
was very healthy. And all that is for me to appreciate and to learn. Why do I stick to one thing, and what do I get from that one thing? Not to do that verbally to people. And then when I read the book Ultimate Coach, there was this chapter in it that got me totally to become the love coach and a relationship coach today. And is not just a relationship between a man and a woman. It can be a sister and a brother, mother and a child, an employee, your neighbor. your best friend. All of that is a relationship that we never know how to have. And all of that, when I read that chapter, is a love chapter, chapter 35 in the Ultimate Coach. I 21 August of 21, I walked to my husband and I said, I need to get divorced. And you have to understand, my husband, any woman in this world is lucky and is blessed to find something that this guy has similar to him. He is the ultimate joy, love, support. I tell him, go give seminars and teach men how to become a true husband. This guy is the biggest diamond of my life. And I always tell him, said he's not allowed to die before me. We've got to die hand in hand, you know.
Mm.
And this guy, I was abusing his kindness and love. I didn't want to see it. And when I read The Loving What Is, and I was just like calmed myself down from that. And when I read the chapter 35, which I probably read that chapter in that book of Ultimate Coach, I don't maybe 10 times, maybe 12 times, who knows? I have it on the Audible, on the Kindle, all of it. And I read that and I thought, wow,
Mm.
how much I have forgotten of my femininity, how much I'm busy being that tough, rough, angry, masculine person within this femininity that searches for Mother Teresa, searches for Wayne Dyer, follows Gabor Mate, learns from him. This side of me is being that love, and this little side of me is being that anger and tantrum and frustration and unforgiveness, and it's taking over all over me, you know. And what am I doing to myself? And that chapter literally got me to be on my knees and begging my husband for mercy. And he, at some point, we weren't married then, but he walked out on me because I was a total asshole,
Mm.
to say the least. You
I
know.
I want to anchor in the flow, the process, because I love the process of this.
Mhm.
The life is what it is, right? Life is handed to you. You're indoctrinated, brought into this world. You have an awakening to that. You
Mhm.
experience all of this grief,
Mhm.
and you go through all of these things that help you navigate that grief, anger, all the things, right? The addictions. And then you come to the journey that we call the journey of acceptance, which
Mhm.
is Byron Katie's loving what is.
Oh,
And it's amazing that when you move into that journey of acceptance, it's often not loving what is, but Byron Katie teaches to love what is no matter what's happened. And then when you do that and you acknowledge what is and what has been in your life, Steve Chandler talks about gratitude expresses naturally. You don't have to go get it. It's as soon as you can acknowledge what is, you can start to acknowledge the good in the world.
mhm.
And,
Which is perfectly said. Yes, you can say loving what is
mm,
forever, but until it resonates with you, that all I am doing, I'm fighting the reality of life, which is the reality is there. Instead of accepting it, I've been fighting it. That's why I'm so angry.
yeah.
You know, and I love what Byron Katie says. She says, when you argue with with the reality, you only lose but 100% of the time.
We teach an analogy of a bear in the field, that you're driving down the road and you see a bear in the field and you think, I don't want that bear in the field. And so you park your car and you jump the fence and you go fight the bear in the field.
Mhm.
And what will happen?
Exactly.
Yeah, you're going to lose. That's a bear,
That's it. That's it.
right?
And like when I get my client who's been married 20 years to her second husband and a very successful doctor,
Mm,
and she comes and she goes, I just don't know what to do with him anymore. And I said, what you need to do is to start taking care of yourself instead of focusing on what to do with him.
mm,
Get back to yourself. That's what Byron Katie all the time says. get within yourself. That's what I learned from that chapter, Love 35, that when you get so, the ultimate coach, I don't mean to advertise for ultimate coach, I don't get paid for it, but I'm just saying this
You're
was the
good.
book that
Yeah.
saved my life. Not only it saved my life, not only it saved my relationship, it has gotten me to be the love coach that I am. I love when I see couples are getting closer together, or the son who never spoke to his mom for these last few months, actually never spoke to her, now is speaking to her because of me, because of
Mm,
how, not because of me, because of my experiences of life. uh, this lady called me and then she goes, what degrees do you have, what certifications you have? And that really angered me again. And I said, I have no certification, not one. Now I have quite a few on the wall, but I said, I have no certification, zilch, nothing. I have one PhD. No one can take that away from me, and none of you will have it. I said, and that's the PhD from the misery of life. And she goes, shut up, and goes, oh, oh, you know, and what you learn from life, if you want to learn, if you want to be the student of life, all that you've been through, what you learn from life is so profound, and it can be so peaceful if you choose to, because you can look at it, continue, say, oh yeah, this is this and that, no, I don't want it. Or change the way you look at things, as Wayne Dyer says, and things you look at change,
mm.
you know.
It truly is that, right? It's your perception, because
Literally.
you have your values, morals, ethics, attitudes. Those are all internal, and
Mhm,
that affects how you see the world. So you don't see the world as it is, you see the world as you are.
mhm.
And so if you can shift that, like you're saying, it took me years to go through that, where I saw the world as happening to me,
Correct.
and then all I'm learning all this stuff like you are along the way, and I'm still that old person, but there was a shifting that happened inside of me because of that bringing in of new information. It's like I don't know if you've seen the examples of people pouring clean water into dirty water, and how
Yes.
eventually it clears it out, right?
Mhm,
But there's
mhm.
that whole process of the silt and the muddiness and the messiness of it, that it takes time for that to clear out.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's a constant work. It's nothing that, when the other one says, well, how long do I coach with you? I said, however long you want to last, however long you can get benefit from it. And to me, it should be a lifetime. And I said, you don't eat breakfast this morning and say, I'm good for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
In few hours, you get hungry. And then you get hungry. And then there is the next day. As you feed your organs for you to be alive, you also need to feed your soul
Mm.
in a continuous basis, so you will always stay grounded. I have these pictures. This is a piece of cloth behind me.
Yeah.
Just to look at that, it reminds me that I need to become serene every minute of my life. Not that I am, but at least it reminds me of it.
I was gonna say it makes me want to go like this, like
That's right.
in here, right? Like
Yeah.
Right. And it's not a religion thing, it's a spiritual thing, it's a calming thing, which I know lots of um, my very, very Christian friends, they didn't like it. They just said it's against Christianity. I said, what? I put a picture of a horse, I put a picture of this, I put a picture of water. You don't object on others, are you objecting on this? But it makes me, what do you do to make you serene? What do you
Mm.
do to bring you to that calmness that you need to have?
Yeah. In our work, the first 6 journeys that we do are all about reaching that calm.
That's
Because
right.
it's from that calm that when you look into the unknown, and you've moved from a space of, moving through divorce, moving from your country, moving, all over for 30 years, you're
Yeah,
going through this adventure. But when you get to that calm, every great adventurer, every great explorer has confidence and accountability within themselves. They know they can count on them no matter what's going on out here. And so
correct.
that getting into the calm, that's what you're expressing here, is that idea that that's available to anybody. And once you get that, and then you look forward into the unknown,
Mhm.
you look and you see possibility. You look and you see all of the resources and abundance that surround you, and then you can envision what you'd like to create with that.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that how you experience it?
100%. I just say, just don't be a prisoner of your past. All that you went through was for you to learn better. It's not a life sentence.
Mm,
All the misery that I went through and ton of people went through, we must not use it as a life sentence. All of that is for me to find today the diamond in me.
mm,
And I couldn't find a diamond in me whilst I was continuing operating on anger. You know, for me, when yesterday we drove to come home, we lived in Los Angeles, and we're here in Palm Desert for a few months, and we're going to go back. And we drove back from LA, and it was exhausting, and we had so much to do. And I did the only thing I wanted to do. Somebody goes to church, somebody picks up a Bible. I ran into the swimming pool and I swam for 1 hour, and I was praising. I was just praising being. I was praising and appreciating the breath
mm,
that I was inhaling and exhaling. And when I came out this like washed heart and soul. And I thought, my God, I cannot have anger for anybody. I can't. I'm washing it away because I'm choosing to. And I say, life is all about the choice.
mm,
You know, there's nothing better realizing that life is about the choice and start using our choices to bring us closer in whatever we do. And first, the relationship with yourself, to have that self respect so you can have the self love.
mm,
That was my self love. Drop everything by the end of the day. I'm exhausted, run to the pool and have that self appreciation, the self love, self care. And
mm.
I constantly say self care is not your hair color, is not the extension, is not your eyelashes, is
Yeah.
not any of that. That's external, whatever you do, perfect. But what you do internally to show your self care to yourself so you can become more of a serene person in any relationship you have.
Yeah. See, this is beautiful. Like, for me, I see everything through rose-colored glasses called the giants, right?
Mhm.
It's this view of that there's a process and a flow that we all go through. And
Mhm.
we've talked about those first six journeys. And now when you're talking about self-care and that growth mindset and also that surrender, right? The
Mhm.
running to the pool and just surrendering, and the peace that that brings is I don't have to know the path, but when I can self-care and self-love and have self-compassion for everything I've gone through and see the connections that that created in my life that allowed me to be who I am today, because without 1 ounce of any of that, Fari wouldn't be who she is today. Your
Literally,
dad, the experiences in London, you would not be the powerhouse you are today without those. Yet,
exactly that. Yes, very
yeah.
well said. Yes.
And
Mhm.
and from that, when you look at that and you start to acknowledge and love what is, and then you look into the uncertainty of what do I want to do next, right? What's out there next for my adventure?
Mhm.
How do you stand before that, address it, look at it, view it when you look at the uncertainty, right?
Mhm.
That faces you because we all have it. The future is
Mhm.
unwritten until we write it. How do you do that? And what philosophies and views do you have around uncertainty? And if you could, we have a view around abundance where all of the things you need, the people, resources, materials, opportunities are already around you, but sometimes you just don't tune into it.
Yeah, that's again, is such a choice,
Yeah.
Nick. Like, for example, this house that we live now, because we're not happy to be in the desert and we want to go back. And I thought, okay, we're not happy to be here, but loving what is that I am here now.
Mm,
We changed the decoration around the house. And we put it and said, when we were walking around last night, and he looked at it, he goes, this is really pretty. This looks really lovely. And I said, yes, because this is loving what is. We live here this moment. And until we are ready to get out of here, we've got to make this our love nest, decorated in ways that is inviting for us to stay here, is inviting for me to come home and say, oh my God, I'm home. Brilliant. Or I have a choice of making it a mishmash and mess around. Say, I don't like this house. This
I
is
hate this
pathetic.
place,
I
right? Like,
hate this place.
yeah.
Hate and love their next door neighbors.
Mm.
Always say that. They are next door. Look, the woman get married to the guy and says, until death takes us apart, I love you. And then when they want to get divorced, they're about to kill each other. Sisters and brothers are coming
Just
from
like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sisters and brothers are coming from the same womb. They can't stand each other.
Mm.
What is being fed to them? What was fed in my family to have so much animosity amongst us? It went on forever. And now that I've learned about loving what is, now that I'm so learning from Byron Katie and all of that, is that I was the one that called my sisters that I haven't spoken to. And I just said, I apologize. And my sister said, yeah, you did that. I said, you're right. You did this and that. Yeah, so you're right. You're right. Whatever she said, I said, you're right.
Mm.
She burst into tears because I didn't give her any chance to continue with her anger.
Okay, so real quick, and hang on, because I know there's more to that flow. But this idea of forgiveness, my favorite definition around forgiveness is the idea to not cause additional harm. Essentially, to lay down the swords. And here you are, you call your sisters, and with that commitment of love, which to me is to not cause additional harm with whatever happened. And your sister says those things, and in some cases, people would be like, well, you did this, right? They would pick up the sword again and cause additional harm, and that there would be no healing.
Right.
But that ability to say, you're right. You're right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I did do that. I'm
It
so
was just like,
sorry. Right.
it was literally it's like you pour water on fire. It couldn't go any further. Had I continued, well, I said it because I said it, where would have gotten
Yeah.
us?
Mm-mm.
Nowhere. And it's just a matter of wanting to come from a place of, number one, I am powerful enough to have the guts to pick up the phone to say, forgive me.
Yeah.
That's from my power, not from my weakness.
Mm.
That's from my integrity. And how much I stop the suffering, for me, number one, that's another way of a self-care. How I stopped the suffering there, and how much more I had self-respect when I did that. When my sisters talk to me since, it's a different person talking to me. They don't talk the same way that they did before. Because I always say we create our own environment. I created this environment of love and peace because I come from a place of self-respect and self-love and self-compassion.
I had a vision there of you're connecting heart to heart or core to core or giant to giant, right? Rather than protector to protector, which is what I think a lot of us do is our protectors come up, we fight from our protectors, but nobody gets to our cores. And
Right.
then when you can lay down those swords, so to speak, you allow both sides to open up authentically, vulnerably, who their true character is, right?
Absolutely. It's just like when the protectors are up, that's what I said, drop your guards, drop your rocks, drop it all and come up as love, because love conquers it all. But how do we approach this love? It starts from ourselves. It's always starting from ourselves. For as long as I can say, no, you, Nicholas, you have to come and apologize to me. Wayne Dyer says, look, 3 fingers are pointing at myself.
Yeah.
Once I turn around, it starts from me. I have to create my heaven in on this earth. How do I take the step is what I preach about. And
Yeah.
it's just a matter of having that self-love to want to take that giant step in life
Yeah.
to create the loving space for yourself.
We say that giants still take small steps. They're just
Mhm.
bigger,
That's
right?
right.
So it's still a small step. Every journey begins with that single step, and that could be, the invitation to anybody that's watching is to just take that first step. Be the one, right? Love yourself and move from there.
Start writing. I just say always start just one sentence. Who am I? And the next sentence, what do I want from life?
Mm,
And then the most important sentence is the third sentence that it says, what am I supposed to do? Where do I start?
mm,
That invokes like the whole power of the universe to
Hmm.
come in, and it opens up everything.
Amen.
That is a very powerful statement.
Hmm.
mm.
And asking for guidance and direction and being open
Hmm.
to it. That's amazing. Hmm.
I like that. Fari, if you were to put language to
Hmm.
your fruits of your efforts, why are you doing what you're doing? Why does this matter so much? What do you want to leave as a gift to the world? Does that make sense?
Yes. What do I want to leave as gift to the world? I want to say Mother Teresa legacy continues through us.
Huh.
You know, because I lived in England, Lady Diana was my queen. I actually served her a couple of times, and when I was working in shops in London, and I adored this woman and she and Mother Teresa were very close to each other. They were very close friends,
Hmm.
and I always said Lady Diana is Mother Teresa, and both of them they died in 1 week, a few
Hmm.
days away from each other. These two have always been my role model. And then once I learned about Byron Katie is, I just want to eat this woman. I want to rub, if I wish it was perfume, I could rub it on my body every day.
I get what you're saying.
Is a
Yeah.
woman of
Yeah.
joy. And um, then learning from Steve Hardison, and then Steve Hardison and Byron Katie for me, like I wish I could. Steve Hardison was an outfit and I could wear it every day.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And when I have these amazing people in my life, I just think choose not to become them, become a version of them so you can have a better life.
Yeah.
Because to me, these people that I named, they're all for me, they're like a version of God. They're walking gods,
Hmm.
you know?
That last comment there by Tana, the remembering, right?
Mhm.
The breaking that word down is reattaching to ourselves what was already there, but we
Correct.
detached from it, right? The love and that way
Mhm.
of being is already within us.
Absolutely.
But
And that's what I want to
yeah,
give. I want to give that love. You know, to say the least, is that I love people.
mm,
I'm such a people person. I love people. I love people to help them to just like, but I can't do this. And I said, look, open your eyes. Let me open your eyes for you. Yes, you can see. Yes, you can be it. Yes, you can do it.
mm,
You just have to choose. And the only way of choosing is because they all say, but he's doing this, but he's doing that. They said, yeah, but we were talking about others. Come back here. Let's go home. You know, and going home is for me something is like a mission that I want to teach everyone to have that love, because I didn't learn that at home. I learned that from these big gurus that I've had through 30, what am I saying, 45 years of life that
mm,
I left Iran, that I learned so much from them. And Rumi, one of the Iranian guys, Persian guys, that has so much that I'm now learning about, is that the whole life is love. And I want to give, like, make a bite off of it and put it in everybody's mouth and say, taste it.
mm.
Taste it. The mama bird.
Like,
This is
Fari
so
the
good.
mama bird.
yeah,
I do that to
I want to
people.
give Farid the love bird.
Yeah,
Fari the love bug.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for what you've taught us today. I mean, we've come to the hour already. I know we could go hours and hours on
I
this,
wish.
on each of these, and so Ryan, what thoughts did you have as we came through this?
Man, I've seen you in the Ultimate Coach, and I've watched you, and I've
Have
seen
you? Oh,
comment. Yeah, for sure. And I'm not as active in there as I probably would like to be, so I'm probably need to do a little bit more. And but I've seen you, and
oh.
now meeting you and then talking to you, just what exudes from you
Hmm.
is powerful. It is love, and I'm
Yeah.
whether it's green hair, black hair, no hair, white hair, all of it. You are a living legacy,
Thank you,
and
my
I'm so
friend.
grateful for just for our paths crossing, for you being here to share your life, and it's just a scratch of the scratch, the tip of the iceberg, I'm sure, because we
Mm.
could sit for a long time, and I hope that we could get together again and do more of this. I know that Steve Hardison, for years and years and years, he's always said to me, and a lot of times before the shows, he would say, "Break both legs." And we've done that today. We've broken both legs.
Oh,
We've
thank
come
you.
in and we've given from here and shared from our
Listen,
hearts to everyone, and so I just wanted to thank you for doing that and being that.
Hmm,
I'm so grateful to be here with you guys, and I'd love to come back and let's go and make this world a better world while
I
we can.
like that
I always
idea.
say,
Yeah.
I just want to help some people before I leave this earth so
Mm.
they don't go through my painful path.
There's the better half
This
right
is
there.
my
We call it.
yeah, this is my baby.
Hey, does he have a cigar in his hand? Because we might be getting along more
Oh,
than
No.
you think.
Oh, is it
oh,
cigar?
Joe.
You know
Can I
what?
call you
It's
Joe?
probably before he met me because I've never seen him with
Yeah,
cigar.
well, Joe, you might be invited to our Giant Cigars group. So that's one
He's
of
not
our.
ever smoked with me, but he's delightful. He's a joy of my life, this guy.
He seems like he's a great, great
He
guy. I
has
think.
healed me. He's been part of my healing process,
Yeah.
let's say. So yes,
Well,
I am
this
grateful to be here, and you guys rock. And yeah, I always say, let's help to make this world a better place so
we
people don't
will.
suffer like we did.
We will continue to do this. So we'll invite you back for our expert panels, and so we do those once a month. There's one coming up tomorrow,
Oh,
and those are fun ways to give back to the community. We do have a few announcements here as we wrap up. I hope that those that have watched have gotten value out of what we're sharing here. I mean, this
mm,
is our passion. Ryan and I have worked for four years together. I wrote the book back in 2009, so this has been a long, long journey to
mm.
to get to where we are today, and we are nowhere near close to done. I mean, these are mountains without tops, and so we appreciate you, the viewers, and for you, what you do for us. If you want to find out ways that you can support us and help us to continue growing this message and getting it out to the world, reach out to us. Send us a message on Facebook, and we'd be happy to share what we're up to. The biggest thing right now is the newest book, The Tortoise's Hair. That's where we need the support because we've got 4 days left on that campaign, and we're about 65% funded on it. And so we would ask you to go and contribute if it speaks to you, the message of the story. And I think we're going to do a little surprise reading here right after this show. So if you tune into Facebook, into the tribe, and some of our other platforms, we're going to go live, and I'm feeling like I want to read the entire book. So if you guys are up for hearing this story, it's a story of self-love, which ties exactly into this message, and self-acceptance. And it's a story of a tortoise who was born in a time when tortoises had hair, and she was born without and thought she wanted to fit in, but finds out that she doesn't. And so we're going to share that with you right after we
I
finish here.
resemble Frankie.
Yeah, yeah. So join us there. Visit tortoiseshair.com. And if it speaks to you to contribute, please do. Outside of that, join us in the Tribe of Giants. If you're not a member of the Tribe of Giants on Facebook, it is a great community, global community, a diverse community. People from all backgrounds, all over the world, and a great space to really heal, grow, and share what you've been learning in your journey. And so come join us there. And outside of that, join us on Wake Up with Giants TV. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can be notified every time we go live, right? Every single dang time.
That's right.
So good stuff. Ryan, anything I'm missing?
No, I think that covers it. Giantsandsmalls.com will catch you up pretty quick, and come hang out with us. It's a good place to be. So,
Fari, thank you so much for being on with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Hang tight through the end. We'll talk at the end, and we'll have just a little bit more fun.
Oh, great.
Cool. Thank you, everybody. Make it a giant day, and we'll see you in the next video.
Love you too.